Breitling is a brand that many of you have had strong feelings about one way or another, and it has been a long time since we had one to do that I thought you may enjoy learning about. But today, we do have a very fascinating and quirky piece that is both bizarre and refined, and kind of fun at the same time. And I'm talking about the newly updated Superocean. And we will use the 42mm blue dial version today for the review, since I can already see the comments if I do a 44 or a 46mm case size. I will also compare the new version to the outgoing model. And folks, this watch basically shares the same name, and that's it. So let's start off by addressing the elephant in the room. What is up with this gigantic dial ring? Well, this watch was designed with the Superocean slow motion in mind from 1965, and it actually looks pretty similar, although the original was a chronograph. The idea here is that the watch provides maximum legibility with the high contrast and large font, in case you do use it for diving. But is this watch actually an upgrade over the outgoing model, or is this just another one that will sit on the shelves? Let's find out. What's up everyone, it's Chris with the Little Treasury channel. Welcome back. This is where we bring you original and in-depth watch content at least once per week. If you haven't already, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell to be alerted as soon as we upload. I'm from Little Treasury Jewelers, which is located in Cambered, Maryland. And it's where you go when you're in the know. As always, the watches that I review are for sale and can be purchased, so please see the description below to contact us. If you're just joining us now, I'll go over the watch's detailed measurements and features, and then I'll offer my personal opinion at the end. In our last video, I reviewed the Grand Seiko SBG Y009, which is a limited edition that evokes the full moon in the night sky. It is very thin and has a dark textured dial and a spring drive movement with power reserve on the rear. This is one that I feel many folks have really missed out on, and it really deserves a look. Wrist check time. Today I'm wearing my Omega Seamaster Professional on mesh bracelet, which I think that Omega watched this channel and decided to copy with the new 60th anniversary Bond watch. Anyway, great guesses on what I picked for Christmas this year, and actually one of you already guessed the watch that I bought in the comments. So keep the great guesses coming though. I'm enjoying seeing what you all think that I actually like. Now tell me which watch you're wearing while you're watching the video, and make sure to tell me why. Now let's get on to the features. The new Breitling Superocean has a 41.7mm case width, a 12.2mm thickness, a 47mm lug to lug, a 21.5mm lug width, a 32.4mm crystal diameter, and weighs in at 173.27 grams. While the outgoing model has a 41.5mm case width, a 13.3mm thickness, a 50mm lug to lug, a 19.5mm lug width, a 30.6mm crystal diameter, and weighs in at 179.77 grams. The case is in stainless steel and has matte finished, thinner, more sleek and curved lugs than before, and a bevel of high polish on the edges of the case, with matte finish on the sides. The side profile is more sleek and thinner than before, with more pointed tips of the lugs. The crown protector is more streamlined with the case now, and you have a significantly larger crown, which should make setting this a bit easier. You no longer have a steel bezel ring separating the bezel and the crystal, which is known to be a scratch magnet, and you now have a much thinner and less bold font with ceramic bezel insert, instead of the coated, most likely aluminum insert from before. Now let's check out that bezel action. The bezel is really good. It is up there with the very top of any bezel that I've ever tested, with a perfectly balanced tension, and it is a huge improvement over the original, which was stiff, inconsistent to turn, and it honestly hurt my finger a little bit. The bezel ring is quite large and is in white with black numerals, with a trapezoidal marker at the 12, rectangular markers at the 3, 6, and 9, and squares for the rest. While before, you will notice that this had a chapter ring instead of the bezel ring, which is very small, color matched to the blue on the dial, and has white font with trapezoidal markers, besides Arabic numerals for the 6, 9, and 12. The dial is in a shiny dark blue, which almost looks ceramic or enameled, versus the matte simple blue of the previous model. Breitling in 1884 in white can be found in a crisper font than before, with the B logo in gold tone instead of the silver winged B logo that looks very antiquated. The hour hand is a silver pudgy pencil, and the minute hand is a stick with a large box toward the end. The second hand is silver with a red point and a circle. The outgoing model has gunmetal toned pencil style hour and minute hands with an arrow style red tipped second hand. No date can be found on the new version, while the outgoing model had a date window at the 3 position with no frame. Superocean can now be found in red with chronometer and 300m/1000 feet in white, with the outgoing model having all of these items in white, but it is actually 500-meter water resistant instead. Lume can be found on all dial markers and the pip of the bezel on both models. The caseback is closed on both, but on the new model, you have an empty brushed area in the center, while before you had the Breitling logo in the center. The movement in both is the Breitling 17 caliber, which is an ETA 2824-2 that has a Breitling rotor on it basically. The ETA 2824-2 is one of the most tried and true movements that exists at this point. So the good news is that problems will be rare and easily fixed by a local watchmaker. It is chronometer certified to be between losing 4 and gaining 6 seconds per day, beats at 28,800 beats per hour, winds bidirectionally, and has a 38-hour power reserve. The bracelet is an offset angular 3-link design that tapers significantly on the new version and has polished center links with matte outer links. The outgoing model has all matte links and much less of a taper. The new clasp is a huge improvement with a sleek stripe of high polish in the center with Breitling engraved into it, dual pushers, and a hidden push-button micro adjust. While the outgoing model has an antiquated, hurt your fingernail style locking fold clasp with spring bar micro adjust. The new Superocean 42 is 300-meter water resistant and can be yours for $4,850, while the outgoing model is 500-meter water resistant and went for $4,200. Now for my personal opinion. Alright, so I know that my Grand Seiko crew has probably already had a seizure by now when looking at the bezel ring, but I honestly get what they have done here with that reference to the slow motion. Breitling is not a brand that will have technical perfection or the craziest in-house movement possible, but it has a quirky charm to it and something bizarre in your brain just gets triggered, making you really want one. After doing this review, I actually want the yellow dial version of this watch, because this actually is a really great timepiece. It's very thin, it looks great on my 6.5-inch wrist, and it feels about a minimum of 10 times more refined than the outgoing model. And I might add that literally everything is improved about it. As I sit here and look at the outgoing model next to the new, I'm thinking that the original just looks toyish and not even in the same category as the new one. The dial doesn't look anywhere near as refined as the new one. Even the indices and logo feel cheap in comparison. Not to mention the bracelet that has a fantastic and great looking clasp versus the totally basic one from before. The bezel is vastly improved as well on the new one, and you shouldn't even look back. The only good things on paper about the outgoing model are that it has a date complication and is somehow 200 meters more water resistant than the new one. Or maybe you just like how it looks better. I do wish that they would at least tweak the movement to have a little bit higher power reserve though, since the same Breitling 17 is in both models, and this is really where the piece falls behind in its competition. I think that if this dial format is a bit too quirky for you, the good news is that Breitling has knocked it out of the park for mainstream folks with every other piece of this watch. And I'm sure that they will make a more normally proportioned dial. I'll recommend this one for anyone who has been waiting for a Breitling piece that is worthwhile, or like a quirky and eye-catching dive watch to have some fun with. Thanks for watching today, everyone. I really hope that you enjoyed the video. And of course, if you did, please make sure to hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and share with all of your friends and your family members too. I look forward to seeing you next video.